Hi everyone. So I'm in the game room. That's what this thing is about. And wanted to just give you kind of a brief, quick overview about a couple of things that we're talking about this week in the world of energy, because I think it's really super fascinating, but super interesting that energy as a concept, the ability to do work, right, is determined by those little atoms that we've been talking about all year. So if you remember, we have our protons, neutrons, and electrons. Protons, neutrons found in the nucleus of an atom. Electrons found out in the orbital shells or out in the electron cloud. And those electrons are attracted to the protons because the protons are positive and the electrons are negative, and opposite charges attract. And we're going to talk about electromagnetism shortly. But for right now, just keep in mind that everything that we're talking about has to do with energy at the microscopic level that kind of gets amplified into the bigger level. So as we go through these next couple of activities, we're going to be talking about how and why protons and electrons affect everything from stuff coming together to form compounds to fire, right? So we have our kinetic energy and our potential energy that we talked about in the previous video. And in this case, keep in mind that even with something like fire, you've got, in this case, a chemical reaction that is determined by the protons and the neutrons. It's pretty cool. So at the microscopic level, and the way smaller than a microscope level, when we can see protons and neutrons and electrons, things like fire, things like this thing doing whatever it's doing behind me, things like this television I'm looking at where I play my games, and my kids play their games, and where we have our Switch and our Xbox and our Google Stadia, and hopefully my PS5 soon, but who knows. It's all controlled by electricity, right? And we need electricity to power these things, and we're going to talk about power soon. But keep in mind that energy, in this case, is defined by the ability to do work, and that is defined and controlled by the relationships that protons and electrons have. So even at the microscopic level, it all has to do with kinetic energy, the ability of stuff to have motion, and potential energy, so the potential of things to move because they're in a certain system. So I'm holding up this lighter. It has the potential to fall, but I'm holding it up so it's not going to... The Earth's core is pulling it pretty hard. Let's see if I can balance it on my finger. There we go. So my thumb is now perfectly pushing up on this little lighter, just enough to keep it from falling to the center of the Earth. And now it's falling to the center of the Earth. It had gravitational potential energy. But that is all based on the number of protons and electrons. So all that stuff that we talked about at the beginning of the year not only has to do with how things are made up, whether it's this pillow, or this lighter, or my notebook, or that TV, but it has to do with how things interact with each other as well. Super cool. And I can't wait to talk to you more about that very soon. Okay, so I'm making steaks tonight for Mariana and me. Look at my hair. So I'm going to ask you what type of energy we're using as I do this. So let's see if this works. Okay, so on this stove, and these are awesome tips. You can see occasionally it'll give like a little dip like that, and then it's gonna go away. So you hear never crisp, red. So what type of energy is this in the type of energy that we're studying? Okay, so Mariana, where did you buy these steaks?
At Carnivore, here in town.
Carnivore.
Yeah.
I haven't been. You've been like twice, right?
Yeah.
Is it good?
It's so good.
Anything else you want to tell the EA traders?
Yes, it's a butcher shop on Boltman. It's amazing. The people are so nice. Get all of
you don't have to sell Carnivore. I'm saying, like, this is your chance to talk to EA traders. Anything else you want to say?
Oh, no, I'm hungry.
Like stay in school, don't do drugs.
Yeah, that too. And
you
also,
have something in your teeth, by the way. Okay, so in this case with the steaks that we were cooking last night, tell me what kind of energy we were using, even though it was on the stovetop and there were heat elements and that kind of thing. What type of energy is being transformed and transferred from one place to another, from that cast iron into those steaks? What type of energy is that?